Hello and welcome to my film podcast. Today I'll be discussing and analysing a popular film from Germany called Das Leben der Anderen, or The Lives of Others as it's known in the UK. The film is set in the early 1980s in East Berlin and follows the lives of Gerd Wiesler, a Stasi officer, Georg Dreimann, a popular playwright, and Christa Maria Seeland, a famous actress who is also Dreiman's girlfriend. The majority of the film shows Wiesler spying on Dreimann in his apartment as he and the Stasi feel uncertain about Dreimann's loyalty to the party. However, the more that Wiesler spies on the couple, the more that Wiesler becomes sympathetic to both Dreimann and Christa Maria Seeland. This results in Wiesler having to choose between conflicting loyalties, one of which is towards the Stasi, who want to implicate Dreimann if there's any evidence to do so is there, and the other is towards Wiesler's growing affection towards the couple as he gets absorbed into their private lives. Eventually, this leads to Wiesler faking reports to let Dreimann write an article criticising the East German Communist Party and smuggle it across the border in order to publish it in Der Spiegel in the West. The film was directed by Florian Henkel von Donnersmarck and was his first major film, as he had been originally directing and co-directing short films. Das Leben der Anderen is one of his most successful and famous films, as he won 4 awards at the Bayerischen Filmpreis, the Bavarian Film Awards, in 2006. Florian was also awarded an Oscar for the Best Foreign Language Film in 2007. Now enough with the background. Let's analyse some of the most important scenes within the first hour of the film. The first scene in the movie is set within the Stasi detention centre in Berlin. The Zweier-Einstellung of the guard and the prisoner taken at a high angle, Obersicht. This quickly sets a status quo for the movie that the Stasi have the power over everyone. Das Thema der Macht ist auch in der Verhörszene. Als Wiesler den Mann verhörte, wird Wiesler aus der Untersicht gedreht, die zeigt, dass Wiesler die Macht und die Kontrolle in dieser Situation hat. There is then a Schnitt to the classroom where the pupils are lectured by Wiesler about how to interrogate a suspect. This creates a dramatic change of mood as the tension of the interrogation is instantaneously cut away from. This in turn creates a mood of uncertainty as the viewer isn't sure what will occur next. In the next scene at the theatre, the Heranzoomen on Christa Maria Seeland, known as CMS, after the totale Einstellung of the play, represents how Wiesler starts off watching the play as you would normally, to then becoming increasingly more focused on CMS here in the theatre, and then throughout the movie. It's further reinforced in the montage of the theatre where Wiesler starts watching Dreimann but becomes more and more interested in CMS. One interesting scene is in the jazz bar scene afterwards. Hier schafft Donnersmarck eine lebendige Stimmung mit der Jazzmusik, den bunten Kleidern und den grünen Wänden. Dies zeigt, dass es noch Leben und Glück in Ostdeutschland gab trotz der Oppression. CMS and Dreimann are also the only ones who are dancing, and they are shown in sharper focus to show this. This shows that everyone here is focused on CMS and Dreimann, the centerpiece of attention. Everyone is also watching CMS specifically. Wiesler, Minister Hempf, her audience in the theatre, even Dreimann here. When Hempf interrupts the jazz musicians mid-song and makes a toast to artists, CMS says, "Bleib bei mir," which translates to "stay with me." This is an early sign to the viewer that CMS fears Hempf because Hempf may blackmail her into sexual acts in order for CMS to maintain a reputation and career. This could be interpreted as Donnersmarck criticising the people of power in East Germany and their abuse of power. Later on, after Hempf and Dreimann have finished talking about Jeske, who is Dreimann's friend and old director, and the possibility of lifting Jeske's Berufsverbot, Grubitz and Wiesler are filmed eavesdropping on Dreimann and Hempf in a dark corner of the jazz bar. This shows how the Stasi operate in the shadows in every nook and cranny, and this is referred back to many times throughout the film. It also shows how the Stasi are everywhere and spy on everyone. In der Szene in der Wieslers Wohnung, wo das Abendessen kochte und fernsieht, gibt es viele Braun- und Beige-Farbe. Dies steht im Kontrast zu Dreimanns bunter Wohnung und der Jazzbar. The camera fat in this scene is on a fixed point, which is like a CCTV camera. This could represent how even the Stasi are monitoring each other. The contrast between Wiesler and Dreimann is further emphasized with a straight schnitt to Dreimann playing football with some local kids. In this scene, Wiesler is taking notes on Dreimann, again in the dark. This re-emphasizes the point from earlier. In the evening, Wiesler is still stood there, showing how regimented and robotic the Stasi have made Wiesler. The next scene is about how the Stasi bug a person's accommodation. Here, Donnerschmark uses many detail Einstellungen to show the viewer the variety of different equipment used back in East Germany to enter and bug a person's accommodation or house. Wiesler is often aligned directly in the center of shots here to show that, at this point, he is still very much aligned to the ideals of the Stasi and still believes in the system. However, during the search for any evidence for Dreimann being against the regime, he picks up and looks at a photo of CMS. This is another example of Wiesler being distracted from his work by CMS, showing that Wiesler is starting to create a one-sided affection for CMS. In the next scene, when Dreimann visits Jeske, it is notable how dark and gloomy his apartment is when compared to the last scene at Dreimann's house. It seems that Donnersmarck did this to show how the Berufsverbot has affected Jeske. His creativity has died. It is also an example of prophetic fallacy, where the dark and gloomy apartment reflects Jeske's inner emotions. The arguing couple also shows the conflict that Jeske is living through in his life. Later on, at Dreimann's party, Dreimann asks Frau Meinecke to tie his tie as he forgot how to. Hier drehte Donnersmarck Dreimann aus einer Untersicht. Dies zeigt, dass Frau Meinecke glaubt, dass Dreimann hier die Macht hat, weil sie Angst vor der Stasi hat. During the scene in the Stasi headquarters, the detailed Einstellung of the files shows how much information the Stasi kept on some people, and the following totale Einstellung of the file storage system makes people realize just how much the Stasi knew about their citizens. Later on, Grubitz messes around with an employee at the Stasi headquarters who told a joke about Honecker by threatening him with serious consequences before telling a similar joke. This, again, shows the abuse of power, as the more powerful you are, the more you can get away with, like a simple joke, or Hemp's relationship with CMS. After the scene with CMS and Hemp in the car, Wiesler sees the car pull up and knows that he has the power to let Dreimann know this bitter truth about CMS. This is shown by the Untersicht of Wiesler, which is used many times in this film to convey power. Just before the first hour mark in this film, Wiesler is seen to betray the Stasi by lying to another member of the Stasi, Udo, about where his CMS is going. This leads to Wiesler going back to the bar to drown his sorrows in alcohol, as he's done something that he has been told over and over again is wrong, and leads to severe consequences. This scene represents how Wiesler is beginning to change from his regimented worker to a humane person. This is shown by him being off-centered when drinking his shots of vodka, which in turn represents how he's drifting away from the Stasi and links back to when they bugged Dreimann's house. CMS then enters the bar and, like Wiesler, drinks a shot of alcohol quickly. Wiesler then goes up to and talks to CMS in the bar, which is not allowed for a Stasi spy to do. Here, Wiesler is shot from an Untersicht to show how he is taking the moral high ground. He is doing what is right. CMS, on the other hand, is taken from an Obersicht, as she is weak and vulnerable after the incident with Hemp. He says, "Ich bin doch Ihr Publikum," translating to, "I am your audience." CMS interprets this literally, but the viewer knows that Wiesler is watching her from beyond the stage. Well, this is it for the first hour of the film, and I would thoroughly encourage you to watch the rest of this great movie to get a better understanding of life in East Germany, and the fears that some faced. Thank you.